We are live. Welcome back to another live stream where we're going to be discussing a lot of things about speed, a lot of things about track, how to get faster, how to improve your training. It's been a little while. I have been working through a lot of things and attempting to get on a regular schedule. So thank you for being patient with me. I'm going to do my best to show up in the same way that I would ask you to show up as an athlete, being your coach. So um, yeah, we're excited to be back today to get back into flow here. We've got an exciting stream for you. We're gonna just start with some videos just to get warm. This, like everything else, is you're gonna need a warm up here. So we're gonna warm up with some videos, and then we're going to segue into a how to improve your sprint form in 10 minutes. And we are going to conclude with a subscriber submission video. Now, this is the whole goal of this stream, is to get you all to be able to send in videos. I'm still working out how exactly to make that happen, but I did have a subscriber reach out to me through email asking if I would review the film for them, to which I did and provided some notes via email. But I will review the film with all of us as I plan to do and go over them live again, watch it a little bit in depth. So let's go ahead and start with the first video here as I navigate through this. How this girl, let's see here. We want a little bit of this style. Okay, so, and then what happens if I make this full screen? How this girl got fast, 11.6 in the 100 meters. There we go. Now, let's see how this girl.
This girl on the top of the podium is Izzy. She's a sprinter that I've worked with for the past 4.5 years or so. She recently hit 11.6 in both of her final high school track meets. This is her eking out the victory by 1/100th. This was 11.60 at the area meet. Then in her final 100 meters of her high school career, she ran 11.67 at the regional meet. Both of those were wind aided, although it was unmeasured wind. For sure, the second one, the 11.67, was not a big tailwind. Now, as a reference,
Let's quickly go over that film there. 11.60 for a high school girl is for sure quite quick. Let's see the start.
Both of those were wind aided, although it was.
She was very visibly more patient than her competition, and it paid off at the end of her race.
60.
You see her. She's still, I'm assuming she's the young lady in red. She's still in second place, but again, her patience paid off towards the end, as it usually does. It's a common theme that you'll notice in my coaching is how patient the athlete can be during the dry phase. So honestly, not a great reaction time. Got a little bit left in the blocks, but the positions that she is in are great. And the patience, you see, she's just not panicking. This is a great start. Was able to gain ground on those girls that initially got out ahead of her, minus the girl currently in first there, but even still. So the girl that's in first is almost is kind of at top end speed and maintaining top end speed, while the young lady who ended up winning this race, who this video is all about, is still accelerating to top end speed. And now the girl in first most definitely is at top end speed and probably in maintenance phase, which means by default she's slowing down. So the young lady who won this race is now at top end speed and able to hold it and sneak by her. So
reference point, she ran mid-13s her freshman year. So she has had some very good development over the past few years. And she's actually heading to...
Yeah, maybe, by the way, I don't know who this coach is, but his channel is 2X Athlete. 2X Athlete. And to coach someone, especially a young lady, to 11.6, you got to know a little something about something, right? So let's hear what he has to say.
Run track in college on a scholarship. Okay, so we're gonna just talk about some takeaways from her development over the past few years. First lesson is about the value and the necessity of sprint volume. Okay, once again, I'm talking about this. So I actually started working with Izzy at the beginning of her 8th grade year.
We're going to go ahead and 1.5x this.
And 8th grade and freshman year of high school, she was also playing basketball. And then also for part of the year, maybe had just like miscellaneous workouts going on. And so she was not, doing track all year long. Then in my training with her, I did training across the spectrum. So, sprinting, jump.
One note, like athletes who do multiple sports, they're great and at the same time problematic when you don't give dedicated seasons to your sport. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing basketball and track, although it gets exponentially more difficult in high school, especially because the seasons overlap, whereas like football and track seasons don't overlap. So they're very um, complementary. Um, so that's a big problem with high school athletes. But as coach said, this was still in 8th grade, so you're not going to find so much difficulty. You're not going to find the necessity to specialize in 8th grade just yet, for the most part.
Jumping, plyos, lifting, pretty unrestricted in all those categories. And so she was really doing more general development during those years, and she had a lot of success. Got stronger, jumped
Royal Ronnie, what's up, man? How's it going? Or not man, but what is up, human being? How's it going?
better in a lot of different ways, like vertical, broad, bounding, hopping for distance, all these things. Got faster, both acceleration and top speed. Okay, so a lot of success, but I would say that her success in things other than maximum velocity was probably more significant than her success in maximum velocity. Okay, and that's just because she was really only doing a short track season in the spring in both 8th grade and freshman year. So the overall, the big picture of her training was not really focused on track. Now, looking back, I probably could have tried to provide a little bit more specific track development. But I mean, she was young, so it was good to do general development at that time. Now, her sophomore year of high school, she was done with basketball. She was now going to be in the track class period every day at school for the entire school year. And so I thought this would be the time where we'd really get that specific track development and really see her max velocity develop. Unfortunately, the track class didn't really deliver. They were more consistent with like med ball throws and body weight strength circuits and some plyos. They were more consistent with those things than they were with like actually getting on the track and sprinting fast. They did some short accelerations, but that was about it. Otherwise, it was pace running or like wickets. They didn't just like do the thing enough, I thought. So her sophomore year, again, there was some progress. I think she ran a 13.1 in the 100 her sophomore year, so it was a little bit faster than freshman year. She also improved her long and triple jump as well, but it was not what I had hoped for. And what I told her is she really needed to run and sprint more, and that piece had kind of been lacking to that point. So
Again, another note about sprinting and jumping and all of these things. They're all going to help each other. So it's definitely helpful that she decided to do track full time, and this coach is smart enough to let her know that, like, if you want to get better at long and triple, you most definitely have to sprint. And another note, Royal Ronnie, as you come in, we're just kind of getting warmed up here by reviewing some videos. We got another fun video after this, and then I will get into some subscriber video breakdown in helping my subscriber. Facility Gamer, what's up? We are just reviewing some videos about track at the moment, and then we will get into some video review of a subscriber submission. So let's do it.
she and I talked about joining a track club actually, and there's a local club that does good work. And she hopped in with them, and actually in June after her sophomore year, she did run a 12.7 in a summer track meet, and that was a little bit more accurate.
Okay, we're gonna move on. He's just talking. Okay, so the other video I wanted to cover, which is a bit Facility Gamer. You have no idea what happened to me. I got third place, lol, while I fell down in the 200 in the last meter. So this was a 400 that you were running, Facility Gamer. You fell and got up and were still able to get third. Is that correct? Like 25 seconds flat. I never ran the 200 though. The guy who won. Oh, I see. Oh, in the last meters, right. So were you winning the race up until then? Facility Gamer says, I got like 25 seconds flat. I never ran the 200 though. The guy who won got 24.2. It's definitely not unusual that you fall occasionally. It's unfortunate, that's for sure, but not unusual that someone falls. Yeah, I was winning. I feel like, yeah, you don't want to look back, right? The thing that I say is eyes on the goal. You always want your eyes on your goal. And so the goal is the finish line. If you look back, you're asking for trouble, whether that's falling or whether that's losing the race. You may have been so surprised that you were winning, which could be a thing that unfortunately it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. But you learned an important lesson. I guarantee that. You definitely don't want to be looking back. Okay, so we'll keep going. Why are high schoolers running faster than Olympians? Is the next video that we're going to go over. I have some theories here, right? I'll see what this video says. Of course, the gear, the newest gear helps. Facility gamer, I sure did. LOL. Yeah, yeah, all good, man. Again, it's just a lesson. Good thing that you found it funny, right? The worst is like when that happens and you take yourself like way too seriously. It's like we're just out here learning lessons all the time. So hopefully you'll have another 200 and you'll know better, and you'll learn how to remain relaxed as people are approaching you and you can feel them and hear them. So if the winner ran 24-2, then hey, maybe you were on a 2390 pace or a 24-1 pace. Either way, for not having run the 200 before, it's not a horrible time. Um, okay, so going back to this video by Jumpman, why are high schoolers running faster than Olympians? Of course, uh, gear helps, right? New shoes, all these Nike shoes with the springs in them and all this other kind of stuff, or like whatever. That's going to help. Um, but what's more true, uh, g- what's more true is that you build your programs on the shoulders of giants, right? So coaches are smarter, weight programs are better, nutrition advice is better, supplementing with electrolytes, with creatine, with all these other things. It's everyone is learning from these things, and so as time goes on, the times are will get faster. Now, I've had the privilege of helping coach a young man who did run um, a hell of a 100 time, um, you know, and 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 really, again, it's like you just are learning from all the years before of all the mistakes or changes that you would have made, and then you're able to implement it with your athletes, which my coaching staff does really well, and we continue to improve. Facility gamer says, I think they run fast because of the new training. Exactly. Because now they know what to do and not to do compared to back then. That's exactly right, facility gamer. It's like you know, where you learn how to load, you learn how to unload, you learn how to back off 8 weeks, 6 weeks before a big competition. Whereas in the past, maybe you trained hard all the way up until that day. There's many reasons. But just as you said, facility gamer, and just as my intuition is you just keep learning as you should as a coach, right? This is a science. This is a science and an art mixed together. The science is exactly what we're talking about now, which is wh- how hard do you train? How do you implement weight training? How do you implement nutrition? When do you give rest? When do you push hard? All those things. How do you tailor training so that your times do drop? And then the art is based on the individual athlete. This athlete may need more work in acceleration. This athlete may need more work in block starts. This athlete is not going to have the same form as previous athletes. um, so that is the art aspect, and one of the professionals right now who does this extremely well, and his coaches clearly understand this, is Quincy Wilson, who doesn't have conventional sprint form, and yet he's breaking so many records. It's kind of like, how do you tell him that his form is wrong? You can't do that. You have to appreciate the art as he displays it on the track and then adjust your science to match it. So let's watch this 8-minute video. We'll go ahead and watch this on 1.5 too, just because I hate watching things on regular speed. We are a speed channel after all, so it only makes sense that we watch things in 1.5 or 2x speed. So let's see what this video says.
This year, we're seeing the fastest cohort of high school sprinters in history, and it's not even close. All conditions, we've seen 4 high school sprinters go sub 10 seconds. That's already such a wild statement. Gout, 9.99 seconds, and don't even mention his 200. Braden Williams, 9.99, and a 9.82 in a hurricane. Tate Taylor, 9.92, and Maurice Gleaton, 9.98. Although these times do have a few things in common. Obviously, they're all sub 10 or 20 seconds.
Just for reference, the athlete that I was just talking about, who's my athlete, he ran 10.01. 10.01.
So fast, it can get you into 99% of global championship finals. They were all ran by high schoolers, some of them not even seniors. But all of them were also ran against amateur competition. That's a really distinguishing factor. We've seen college kids run fast with sus wins on sus tracks. We've also seen historically quick times at high altitude tracks. And as much as we love to glorify times in the sport, at the end of the day, you're not truly faster than someone until you actually take them down to the start line and beat them to the finish. I'm not discrediting any of these athletes, but it's known that the pro level is an entirely different beast. There are no more easy races. Everyone running at that level was a high school or college phenom at some point. So while these high school times are phenomenal, you do have to take them with a grain of salt. But this weekend, Maurice Gleaton just changed the whole damn narrative. It's getting to that time of year where this generation's phenoms have their first taste against the real deal. And Gleaton whipped a field of Christian Coleman, Cravon Charleston, Kendall Williams, Terrence Jones, and Jalen Slade in a windy 9.87 seconds from lane 1 in his heat. This was an absolutely baffling result to wake up to. These are all names that have been at the forefront of the sport at one point or another. Coleman, NCAA phenom and 2019 world champ. Charleston won the 2023 US championship in front of Lyles. Kendall Williams was a world junior champion when Trayvon Bromell was a junior. And Jalen Slade was a high school phenom who went pro straight out of high school. And of course, it being a heat, it was also a final. But he got DQ'd for a false start. So he decided to run under protest and then destroyed the same guys and a few extras in 9.82. Both of these times were wind dated, but it's more about who he beat. Also, it has to be addressed, but Gleaton also talked shit to the professionals, mainly Coleman, and Coleman got heated. Shouting ensued, an altercation if you will.
How you know, boy? How you know? How you know, boy?
18's old enough to catch a case. You're an adult now too, bud. I don't know the real nitty-gritty details, but there's not much to say about it. Athletes and spectators heckling each other and talking shit. It's nothing new to sport in general. But let's talk some numbers. Firstly, 9.87, 2.4 win, translates to a 9.97 neutral, confirming his 9.98 was the real deal. While his 9.82 with a 2.9 win becomes a 9.95. You give Gleaton a nice legal tailwind, and he's a legitimate high 9.8 guy right now. So besides the fact he genuinely beat Olympic caliber sprinters, he ran times fast enough that would net you a spot in any championship final. Gleaton reminds me a lot of Osama Singer, who was, by technicality, the greatest high school sprinter we've ever seen, if we ignore the ban of doping. Similar times, beating a world-class field back-to-back, it's some pretty good company. But like a Singer, he's also got the physical maturity of a pro. He's built, a good height, and his race includes a solid start and finish, lacking any clear deficits. And if anything, he displayed really strong top-end speed. Undoubtedly, the races today, combined with his 9.98 and even a 10.01 earlier this year, have done a few things. He's the real deal. No matter what path he chooses after this, NCAA or pro, he's going to be in that US fastest man conversation. Maybe not now or tomorrow, but over the next few years. And out of 2025's 4 high school phenoms, he's standing at the top of the sandcastle. For now. High school Nike Adidas run sub 10, no matter the conditions ever. Trayvon Bromell, 2013. Matthew Bowling, 2019. Osama Singer, the band so we don't count him. And Christian Miller in 2024. Technically, that's only 3 in the entirety of history. We've gotten more this year in the first 6 months than the rest of history. And if we take the fastest legal time, which is a 9.92 from 17-year-old Tate Taylor, well, you're really going to like this stat. With that time, through history, he would have won 6 out of 19 World Athletics Championships since its inception in 1983, as well as 7 out of 15 Olympic golds since synthetic tracks were introduced in 1968. That's a track record of winning gold in 13 out of 34 global championships at 17 years old. The most recent being 2017. That's the year Justin Gatlin infamous.
Okay, yeah. So Facility Gamer says, damn, that's faster than anyone in my country. Yeah, I mean, those are no small times. Then goes on to say, it's funny how they are my age, yet they all look 30 years old. I mean, that's a point that can't be missed, which is that, like, well, first of all, there's this concept. I don't know where you're from, Facility Gamer, but there's this concept in my country where there's a thing called super seniors, right? They're seniors in high school who graduate when they're 19 years old. And this was a rare occurrence when I was in high school many, many years ago, but it is now super common, actually, so much so that like super senior doesn't even sound right. And there's a huge difference between a 19 to 18-year-old boy and a 14-year-old boy. Not to mention not to mention the differences in development as far as age is concerned. As Facility Gamer said, like, they're my age, but they look 30 years old, and like undeniably there's a difference between how bodies mature at what ages, and so it's impressive the times they're running, and yet what's more impressive is when you do it on a stage such as the world stage, as you're looking at Justin Gatlin here. The other thing that can't be ignored is it's hard to do it consecutively. Doing it once is great. It's no small feat. And yet the thing that separates the professionals from the high schoolers or college athletes for that matter is their consistency over time in terms of running those speeds. Um, so and they showed the video of the young man versus Christian Coleman, and it's great. Love the shit talking. It's all good in my book. It is, however, important to note that you don't know what cycle either of the athletes were in. Christian Coleman could have not been in his speed cycle at that moment in time, and not making excuses here, but it is a very real thing as we look back on this weekend's performances from Noah Lyles and what's that guy's from Jamaica, Oblique Seville or something like that. That was Noah's first 100 of the year. And again, not making excuses, but that's how it's going to go until you're in peak shape. And the idea is you can't always be in peak form. As much as we would like to look at a Usain Bolt and assume that everyone's always fast, that is just not the case. You the way you train for track is that you work backwards from your goal date, because running 9:8, running 9:9, whatever, it really redlines your nervous system, your CNS, and so it's not possible to maintain that for 10 months at a time. You definitely have to have some breaks in there, and then so you can efficiently ramp up. Um, yeah, interesting. I had no idea about that. Yeah, facility gamer, you just might have, I don't know what your measurements are or whatever, but you might be maturing slower than people around you. That's definitely possible. Uh, or there's people around you who just mature really fast. How many, Crappie 99 asks, how many speed endurance, or I guess speed capacity sessions should I do per week? I'm a 100 meter and 200 meter runner. Crappie, to answer this question properly, I would need to know your goals and the date at which you would like to achieve these goals. Um, I mean, during preseason, you're going to have more speed endurance days than speed capacity sessions or just pure speed sessions. And then as you get closer to the goal date, you're going to have more speed capacity sessions and less speed endurance sessions, if any speed endurance at all. So I'd really need to know what your goals are, and I would really need to know what date they follow. Um, I discussed this in my uh, 12-week training program that I have. And even still, using the 12-week training program is not ideal in terms of peaking and running your quickest, but at the very least, it's programmed to give you the speed endurance days that you need, which may be three days a week, and then the speed days that you need, which may be 2 days a week. Um, that's 5 days, yeah. And then as you get closer to your goal date, it's going to flip it on its head. You might even have 4 days of speed training, or 2 speed training days, like pure speed days, tech day of blocks, two tech days of blocks, and then 1 day of speed endurance. Something like that. So that's how it is. It's like the volume at which you run and the percent at which you run have to be in line. So the further you are from your goal date, the higher volume you can run on the track. In the higher volume that you run on the track, the less percent it is. So an example might be, if I'm really far, like let's say I'm in preseason, I'm probably going to end up running or sprinting 2,400 total meters. So what is that? 12 200s. But if you have to imagine, if I'm running 12 200s, what are they going to be at? 70%, 75%, just really working on form, that kind of thing. But if I'm 2 weeks out from my peak meet, when I want to peak in my track season, then I'm really looking at, 750 meters of total sprinting, or even less depending on my events, 450 meters of total sprinting. But then you have to imagine, if I'm running 450 meters only in my practice, then I'm spiked up. um, I'm getting a ton of rest in between reps, and my reps are going to be at 95% of max speed. So that's a little bit of way to look at that. I don't know if I helped answer your question there, Crappie, or not, but that's how we train. Um, so just thought let's see what they say here, actually.
On paper, to win the whole thing like 30% of the time. And to answer why, it's the shoes, man. These kids are growing up in super spikes. They have adapted super tendons. I actually don't even think that's a joke. It's going to be really interesting to see how all these careers play out. An early
Okay, so I guess conclusion to this video is that it's the shoes, which I don't think there's a denial that the shoes are better made. Not sure I can credit the shoes for all the success of these athletes, but one thing I want to look at here as we slow this down to 0.25 speed, which is what I discussed actually in a different video. Whoever this is sprinting, I don't know who this is, but yeah, agreed, Facility Gamer. It's not just the shoes, it's the better program. 100% agree. So whoever this is sprinting, look at how stiff they are in their ankle. It's gout facility. So this is gout. Thank you. Look at the ankle stiffness of gout, right? Like that heel doesn't drop to hit the track. Look at that dorsiflexion. Look at the activity of his foot as it hits and grabs the track. This is a concept that we're going to talk about later today as we get further into the live session, is how do you actively grab the track rather than passively let your foot fall onto the track? How are you aggressive in your posterior chain and hamstring activation? A really cool concept that I've been working on with my athletes now. So boom, look at that heel stays up, not intentionally. He's not thinking about it. He's just sprinting the way he knows how, but it's because of how he trains that you get this stiffness. And look at that. When the foot hits, it collapsed a little bit there, but it's probably leagues better than any. Look at that. He's just able to get off that foot and get right to the next one. Look how much time he also spends in the air. Okay, it's very good slow motion. Okay. Yeah. Well, Facility Gamer brings up a good point. That looks very cool, but it does not look very powerful, though. I don't know. Let's watch it in regular speed. And then I do have a note about that in terms of yeah, I do think it's probably if it's gout, it's most likely way more powerful than we're giving him credit for. You look at look at his calf is way up here. If you can see my cursor, that long Achilles tendon gives him ton of leverage to create force. In addition to that, when you get to the end of your race, so whether that's the 100 or the 200 or the 400, he looks like a spring, very much so, like a spring. Boom, boom, 100%. That's a good description. When you get to the end of your race, it's no longer about power. It's now about turnover. So this could be, it doesn't look like it's at the end of his race, actually, but it could be, or it could be a training exercise where he's only focused on turnover, right? You've got this blend of putting your foot on the ground and then lifting it up as a means to sprint quickly. However, you don't want to lose the ability to push off the ground because you're trying to be so fast in your steps as your feet hit the ground. So, there's this balance here, and there's certain drills that you'll do where you're going to prioritize the quickness at which your foot comes off the ground. And then there are certain drills that you'll do where you, in particular, acceleration drills, where you prioritize pushing off the ground and spending just the fraction of a second longer on the ground in order to push off a little bit harder. So if you have trouble with your acceleration phase, you can think about that. And then as you get into your maintenance phase at the end of your race, it's totally about turnover in that instance. So we're going to go ahead and move on here to something really fun that helped give me an idea of what elite sprinters are working on. So let's see here. Facility gamer. Is it possible to get a faster turnover? Yes, it is possible to get a faster turnover. There are turnover specific drills. Actually, I incorporate turnover drills into my warm up for all of my athletes. So there are a few ways to get faster turnover, right? So anyone who doesn't know, turnover is your ability for your feet to move in a cyclical motion. And on the other end of the spectrum, you have stride length, right? Stride turnover, stride length. Stride length is how much track you're covering in one stride. And someone like Gout covers a ton of track because of how tall he is. So turnover, which you can think of as riding a bike and pedaling around, pedaling around as fast as you can. And a way you can conceptualize this when you're running is if you ever have run downhill and uh, your body is going a little bit faster than your legs can keep up. So your legs have to cycle really fast. And then eventually you fall downhill if you've ever fallen running down a hill as like a kid or something like that. So, one of the best ways, one of the best ways to train it is if you do have a slight decline of a hill that then leads onto the track and that hill is paved in track surface. Now that's a unique and rare situation. There's at least one track in my area that I know of that has this setup, and it's great. But that's not really common to have this slight decline that you can start up here, end up running down, so your feet move really fast, and then you're onto the track. Another way to do it is an overspeed belt. I wouldn't suggest the overspeed belt for beginners or people who don't know what they're doing with that, because it can lead to injury quicker than it will help you if you don't know what you're doing. But an overspeed belt is another way to do it. And then there's another drill where you start, a little hard to describe. How can I hold on one second? Where you use essentially physics to help you create this turnover. So here's what we're going to do is, okay, so I just have this picture of a track here. I hope you can see that, where my mouse is hovering this larger image. So a drill that I like to incorporate into my warmups is this turnover drill where you start out here in lane 9. I mean, this is a 4 lane track. So for the purpose of what we're talking about, that you start in lane 4 here, you follow the curve for a little bit, and then you cut across all the lanes so that as you come off of the turn, you end up in lane 1, and you maintain it for just 20 meters down here, if you can see my mouse. Now, the reason that this is helpful for turnover is, again, we're going to take this concept from physics about, is like revolution. So how fast in a circle can you go? In the way that you increase your revolutions, like if I have a ball on a string, right, and I want the ball to circle the midpoint of that string, the way I make it go faster is by making the string shorter. I pull it in and the ball will circle faster than that. So that's the concept of this drill, where you start in the outside lane, you carry that momentum for a little while, and then you bring it all the way across the track. And the whole point is to focus on how quickly you put your feet down and pick them up. That's one of my favorite drills to work on turnover. Maybe something that I have to create a video on to show you exactly what I mean. So moving on, great question, by the way, Facility Gamer. Thank you for all the questions and the conversation here. I appreciate it. It helps me understand kind of what people need to, or what people would like help with. Yeah, good luck. Try it. If you have spikes, it's great. And understand, for the purpose of this drill, you can totally feel fine sacrificing some stride length in order to achieve turnover. So move your feet even quicker than you otherwise would, only for this drill. It's just to reinforce that turnover, just to get your brain used to moving that quickly with your turnover. So that's one way to do it. My coach used to say, when you want to focus on turnover, in particular in the last 15 meters of the 120, the last 35, 40 meters of the 200, and the last 80 meters of the 400, is, he used to say, beat the drums, like you're a drummer boy, and your drummer boy is just beating the drums here. That's what he means by, you want your turnover to remain fast. And if you watch any of the professional sprinters, the person who usually pulls away at the end is the person who can maintain their stride length and yet keep their turnover really quickly. And then the people that kind of look like they're stuck in mud, like they're running in mud, they often will fall back. So good luck with that drill. Let me know how it goes, Facility Gamer. So we're going to watch this. I watched 4 or 5 minutes here, and it gave me a ton of insight on things. So let's go ahead and watch. By the way, what a treat to be able to see an Olympian training for free. Usually, I'm sure all the secrets are hidden, and yet you still get great value by watching these videos. If you notice, this is a practice session from May 22nd, 2022. So whatever is current that they're working on, they're keeping close to their chest, right? They're not showing everyone. And that just makes sense, again, because the way that we train speed is a science. And so by default, if it is a science, you kind of want, well, you don't have to be on the cutting edge of science, but that's the most fun science, in my opinion. So they're not showing everything that they're up to as far as 2025 is concerned, because they want to keep some stuff to themselves. They'll release it later, but they're really experimenting and playing with his training. And they for sure have some new stuff that they're working on that hopefully they'll show us later. By the way, Noah does live streams. Okay, I will check that out. I did not know he does live streams. What is he live streaming? Like his practices and stuff, I'd have to imagine. Which, again, like, how cool to be able to watch the best in the world train for free. You don't have to go anywhere. So that was just maybe a little build up on the grass here. He's doing his warm up on the grass just to save his joints and tendons. The track is great, but can be a little bit unforgiving on your musculature system. Yes, practice, so no cuts at all. That's great. Facility Gamer, the fact that you're watching all this is great, and will help you on your journey. So keep up with it. What's your take on fascia training? What do you mean, Joseph? Joseph, like foam rolling, like fascia training? I'm not quite sure exactly what you mean. Like fast switch fibers or what? Okay, so we're getting to the fun part here. 41 seconds in, block starts. I want you to pay attention to the intensity at which they are attempting their block starts, even though it's just practice. They're trying to maintain the same intensity as they would in a race, because this is a routine that they are going to replicate on race day. Stuff like towel curls. Yeah, towel curls as in with your feet, like you put the towel on the on the ground and you curl the towel to you using your feet, or towel curls where I guess those are towel pull-ups where you have the towel up on the pull-up bar. Can you describe a little bit what towel curls are, Joseph? Okay, did you hear that? Someone yelled, "Come on, hamstrings, let's go." So this is a big topic of what we're going to discuss today. They say, if you can't hear it, I'll rewind it in. They say, "Come on, hamstrings, let's go." Joseph replies with your feet. Yeah, I'm a fan of towel curls. I'm a fan of training your feet, especially as a runner. I mean, quite obvious, right? You. I don't know if you've seen baseball players. They have like buckets of rice, or boxers where they'll do a lot of hand stuff. And it's obvious, right? I'm a baseball player. I'm a boxer. My hands have to be well trained. If you're a track athlete, then yeah, your feet should be well trained. So towel curls are passive enough in the sense that you can do them while you're watching TV or whatever, and yet will strengthen your feet. So I do think that's a good idea, if that's what you mean. There it is. Come on, hamstrings, let's go. Someone yelled that, so let's pay attention. And I figured out what they meant. So I was a little confused at first, but I figured it out. Okay, so quick note. Notice his shoulders. Notice his hands right up to the line, obviously. Chin relaxed to his chest. Shoulders are over the hands. Can you see this angle here? He's not sitting back in his blocks, shoulders over hands. Look at the flatness of his back. He's not rounded in his back. And he may not have both knees on the track, but which is debatable as far as your starting style. But look at how that knee, look how close this knee is to the line. So he's not by any means what you would consider comfortable, although he's probably been doing it long enough that he is comfortable in this position, as you should be if you have been doing track long enough. So just look at that position here. Set position. Those shins are at a 45-degree angle because that is the angle he's going to come out of the blocks. Now, let's pay attention. When they say set, only his hips rise. It's a strange position compared to other ones I've seen. So Facility Gamer says it's a strange position compared to other ones I've seen. This is the way that I was taught to do block starts, the same way that Noah Lyles is doing them, although I keep both knees on the track. I've noticed in many of the professionals or many of the top sprinters, elite sprinters, their shoulders are going to be over their hands. They're going to be strong in pushing against the track, not weak here. There may be other coaches that teach other ways. This is the way that I was taught, and it's helpful to see that the Olympic champion is close in that we have the similar form for block starts. Only his hips move. Come on. Good. reaction time is amazing. The quickness at which that foot gets down is amazing. The arm separation is amazing. You can't even see it, but watch his arms, how they separate. Okay, so you see those two elbows, those two arms flying back. This leg is actively engaging on the way back, and we're going to discuss that in a second here. I promise. I know I keep stopping it and talking, but I promise we'll get to it.
Boom. You see?
Now I want you to listen to what the coach said, because it took me a while to understand what he's saying. But when I heard him say it, I knew it was something important. So we're going to listen to exactly what he's saying.
Now the hamstring rip. Because if you don't pull the hamstring, what's going to happen? The toe's going to get away and the shin ankle's going to go up.
Okay, so did you hear him? He said something like, with the hamstring rip. And I was like, what is that? What is he talking about?
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And you didn't panic, so you're still better than where you were.
Still really good. I feel like it's still starting to get to my run. I feel like I should drive like a little bit more.
That yellow needs to be, that's why it's there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then once we get here, now it's just continue to attack and try to accelerate now instead of waiting. You understand what I'm saying? Okay.
That was good.
All right, well, I'll rest.
That was good.
Okay, so they looked at the iPad in between sets, and the coach touched on something that gets covered a little bit further in the video, but I will go over it now so that we're all on the same page as the video progresses. So what he's discussing is, let's see here. I got to slow this down. There, way too fast. I wish there was, I have my little thing. I'll figure that out. Okay. So here's what he's saying. So you see this leg that's driving up. What coach is asking them to do that Noah is doing better than his training partner, although his training partner is learning and apparently improving at it. I don't know who he is, but once the leg gets there, you're actually going to use your hamstring. You're going to engage your hamstring to bring that foot back to the track and attack the track. So he's not just placing his foot down. He's not waiting for the track, waiting for his foot to hit the track. Instead, when the leg comes up, he's engaging the hamstring to snap his leg back down underneath him. So like right now, that hammy is engaged and it drives his leg back down underneath him. And if you don't know what you're looking for, it looks like maybe he's just accelerating and that foot comes down. But what he's actually doing is engaging that hamstring, firing the foot back down behind him. And I thought this was a huge moment for my coaching, for my sprinting career, something that I was not taught, but makes total sense. So is he hitting the ground faster? Yeah, he's hitting the ground faster. I don't know that he's hitting it faster, but he's hitting it a little bit behind where as opposed to if he just let his foot fall in front of him, he's actively engaged his hamstring to snap his leg back down. And this will pay off later in the race when he goes to stand up into his acceleration phase and is in a full sprinting motion. And same concept applies. So when you drive your knee up, rather than just letting your foot hit in front of you, you're going to engage your hamstring to grab the track. And we'll go into more depth about this concept. Let's go ahead and finish with this section because I believe they go over it a little bit more in this video, so it may help make more sense.
Boom. Understand what I'm saying? Yeah. The toe's going to get away and the hamstring rip. Because if you don't pull the hamstring, what's going to happen? The toe's going to get away and the shin ankle's going to go up.
So if you don't pull your hamstring, the toe's going to get away and the shin angle will go up. So maybe this will help explain it as well. coach is saying that. So if you don't engage your hamstring, so just imagine that this foot swings a little bit out this way rather than staying tucked under at this angle. And that foot that's coming up, does that make sense? Boom. Facility Gamer says that's actually like an issue I have is standing up because I'm always like low to the ground. Yeah. So if you do you feel as though you're falling into the ground, Facility Gamer? Is that what you mean by low to the ground? So it happens again here too. You don't want that foot to get away from you.
Come on.
Yeah.
And you didn't pay.
I feel like
That's you did.
that was good.
All right, y'all got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, or when you're ready. After that, if you need more than that, take it.
I got what you're saying. Blocks is for show, because if you don't really know what you're looking at, anything looks pretty. But to a trained eye, they know like what they're looking for.
That's a fact.
You know, it's like when you're like scrolling on Instagram, and you'll see certain people do blocks, and I'll just be like, yeah, that's ugly. I can't look at that. But there's a few starters out there who I will constantly just refresh, watch that thing like 5 times, looking at different things. I'm like, yeah, that's good. Exactly. I'm like, what can I add to mine that this person?
What's up, Edgardo? We're just going over some training footage here from Noah Lyles. We will eventually get into some film from a subscriber submission that I'll go over. We're exploring the concept of active hamstring engagement in order to grab the track rather than a passive foot placement on top of the track. Interesting concept. So
Let's cut it there.
Yeah, let's
I'm
cut it
good.
there.
All right. John, I'm gonna cut it there. Okay.
That's fine.
So rather than continuing with the prescribed workout, they decided that they achieved quality start. One of the things about starts is you don't want to do so many starts that you end in a position where your starts are poor quality. You want all of them to be A+ in terms of quality. And as soon as you get into the A-, B+ range of quality, you should stop your starts workouts, no matter what the workout was in the beginning, like as it was written down, because you don't want to practice B+ starts.
All I want you to do, cool down, stretch, get to the gym.
All right.
Cool down, stretch every
Today,
time.
we have blocks coupled with a little bit of speed bound.
Facility Gamer. Well, I'm going to go now. Good night. All right, Facility Gamer. Good night. He's in Portugal. Shout out to Portugal. I would love to go. Almost 1 a.m. Yeah, gotta get to sleep. You meet the fastest man from Portugal. I told him I'm going to break his record. Bro was confused. Cool. I'd be interested next time I see you what the record is and try to figure out how we can get you there. But until then, have a good night. I will create a clip of this segment so you can try to better understand what I mean by hamstring engagement. So thanks for stopping by. I appreciated chatting with you.
Speed bounds was really just to kind of get that energy of pulling back into the track. Lately, I've been having good block sessions, but I'm still trying to break the habit of just placing my foot down.
986. That's an ambitious goal, but let's do it. Let's get you there. See you later.
And really trying to get my foot to pull back into the track to get that power. So that's what. And really trying good block
So
sessions.
here's the essential main theme of this concept that we're covering today.
I'm still trying to break the habit of just placing my foot down and really trying to get my foot to pull back into the track to get that power. So that's what those are for. It definitely worked as we got towards the end of the workout. There's a few cues that we went through. Coach B was talking about using your hamstring to pull back onto the track, and I think that's really what helped me out today. We were going to do another 60 today, but coach told me he wants us to be running tomorrow, so we decided to cut that. And now I'm just about to head up to the gym and then recover, get ready for tomorrow's legit workout. And that's pretty much it. What you slowing down for, my boy?
I couldn't hold it, boy.
No.
Okay, so again, he discussed it, which is that an active hamstring helps you grab the track rather than placing your foot down on top of the track, and this is better for power generation from all the way from the start all the way down to the end of the race.
That is not what I saw. No. You had perfect form, and you just completely let it go. You went from to
keeping up with my right leg. It's doing this for and I think
no. I know what I can't hold form looks like. You start breaking down, you get tight.
No, I can hold form when I tired and all. My body programmed to do that.
No.
How funny that Olympians are making fun of each other and having a good time about breaking down in form. You would assume that maybe Olympians have it all together. They've been doing it so long, they're so fast, and yet here we are understanding that that's the beautiful thing about track, right? It never gets easier, you just get faster. And so that's this concept in a nutshell, which is teammates having fun with each other about breaking down in their form. So that's great.
I'm saying in my docu-series over here. Yeah. It's my man Carl Grove
From
Trinidad and Tobago. Got to say them both. My man's over here, 19-second runner, one of the many 19-second runners we have in the group. Now, I've watched this man go.
19th. Inspired me. Thanks again.
I watched this boy go. This man. I watched this man go from 20.5 to
20.5.
20.5, 20.4, 19.9. World Championship finalist.
Should have gotten the bronze with him. That would have been good for a camp, but hey, next time.
For real. You're gonna be out there with me, Dream.
Series. Make sure I put the spots in because I want to see it.
I got you, bro. All right, let's go cool down.
Okay, in the effort of time, we are going to. There is a section that is about his weight training in here, which we will go over next live session. But in the meantime, we're going to go over the concept that we discussed in the beginning of this, which is elite sprinters. We'll go like this: elite sprinters don't wait; they fire. What does that even mean, right? So the core idea here is that the core idea here is that sprinting is an active cycle, not a passive one, driven by aggression of the posterior chain. Right? It's not passive in the sense that your foot doesn't hit the track. It's active in the sense that your foot grabs the track. So if you can fix this, you're most likely guaranteed to run faster and be more powerful, right? You have to become aware of this. There are drills that you can do, which we will go over. And you have to understand that high knees do not equal speed, and waiting for the track does not equal power in particular. So I'm going over this concept now with a few of my athletes, and it's quite clear that although I'm familiar with how to engage my hamstrings, and this concept made sense like this to me, it doesn't always translate to my athletes. So one of the things that I challenge my athletes to do, and I can challenge you to do right now, is can you isolate and engage your hamstring, whether you're sitting as I am or whether you're standing, which my hamstring is engaged right at this moment. And I found that my athletes don't know how to do that. So that is a challenge, because not everyone understands or knows how to do that. But quite clearly, it is important. Okay, so as Noah and his coach discussed, you don't want that foot to get away from you. Meaning, if you don't engage, if you don't attack back, you'll often end up overstriding versus attacking the track. Right. Um, a common mistake here is to have high knees without hamstring engagement, just for the purpose of high knees. Uh, any coach at any level basically will instruct you to have high knees, although it's not always clear why you need high knees. Right. Part of the equation is a high knee helps your stride length, and the other part of the equation is a high knee helps you engage your hamstring uh, on the way down as you strike the track and pull underneath you. So my knee is up, right? And then as I reach out, I engage the track, and this happens from the hamstring. So if you can even feel that with your finger, right? So ideally, the hamstring is here. So as I pull back, this muscle is engaged. And so that's what you want to be doing as you go down the track. Um, some this is a difference between floating um, and actively striking the track. Sorry, my dog's back there. I don't know what he's up to. So let's break it down from the very beginning, because honestly, your dry phase sets all of this up, so you don't have to make any drastic transitions down the track as you go down the track, right? So, when you're in your dry phase, you want this triple extension of your ankle, of your knee, of your hip. You want explosive arm separation. So you see this nice little diagram here where these runner arm, or the distance between the elbows are maximal. The distance between the knees are maximal. Running fast isn't enough. You have to attack. Yes, we got that. The firing the hamstring comes after the triple extension. So this is almost like a equal and opposite reaction. So as you push one way, you snap back the other way. So almost like if you think of an accordion, right? Or again, conceptually, sprinting is your ability to expand and contract your muscles as quick as you can. In particular, in the case that we're talking about, it's the hamstring. It's the ability to grab the track on the way down and then release your hammy as you propel forward. This is not something that you're going to consciously think about. This is just something that you implement into your lifestyle with your drills. And some of the drills are going to be B skips. They're going to be straight leg bounds. They're going to be straight leg bounds with the cycle. They're going to be bounds and speed bounds and single leg bounds, all with the concept of once that knee drives up, the foot actively engages and grabs the track behind you. So as you move down the track from your dry phase, you're going to work on your transition into acceleration. And the thing with the acceleration phase is you want to spend a fraction of a second longer pushing off the ground, but because you set up the active hamstring in the beginning, you shouldn't have to think about it, but you still want to maintain aggressive hamstring contraction on the way down as you are grabbing the track to push you forward. So as you cycle, you're going to cycle with the leg underneath the hip to generate forward propulsion, right? And so that means grabbing the track rather than waiting for your foot to hit so that you can then swing through with the other leg. Again, slide says the same thing. After triple extension, the hamstring powers the leg recovery. So one of the ways you could practice this is by wall drills. So standing against the wall, either in dry phase or in top end speed, and and engaging the hamstring and then pushing down, and then engaging the hamstring and then pushing down. Or if you're working against the wall on your cycles, you want to bring that knee up, and then on the way down, you engage the hamstring to cycle back up. You engage the hamstring to cycle back up. Those are two great drills that you could try. You want to think about it as you approach top end speed, as you approach top velocity, as though, like, you want to think about it as your foot being like a claw machine, almost grabbing the track. And then again, that happens through active hamstring engagement. Of course, this comes after you are standing tall, uh, cycling drills against the wall. Um, you know, what else? Okay, so those are some fun slides here. So if you are having trouble engaging your hamstrings, there are some drills that you could do. There's a series of band drills that I enjoy teaching, on top of these basic cycling drills against the fence. You're going to have this posterior chain band drills, which include some in and outs with the band, some monster walks, some clamshells, some glute bridges, all of which I have on file, and I will upload as I form this, as I clip this. I should have prepared better to be able to show you right now on live. We are running a little bit short on time as far as when I have to leave, so I don't have time to transfer those files at the moment, but I will clip this. Um, so band drills are going to be good. Some other drills, as I mentioned before, will be B skips. In particular, if you know how to do B skips, this is a very great way of practicing the hamstring engagement. If you're having trouble with this, just slow down and work on it that way. Again, I told you with my clients, with my students, I haven't come across one yet who's understood how to engage their hamstring without working through progressions first. So the very first progression is, can you just activate your hamstring with like holding your knee up and squeezing and letting go, squeezing, letting go, understanding what that feels like, and then extend it further to point towards the track, squeeze, point towards the track, squeeze, and then you extend it to point towards grab, point towards grab. That progression has seemed to work well for my athletes. Got my little guy in here going crazy on his bed. Okay, so another drill that I like is straight leg bounds. It's a great way to practice this. Straight leg bounds work on also acceleration, because you're going to spend that extra fraction of a second pushing. But you don't want to passively, again, let your foot hit the ground when you do these straight leg bounds. You want to engage your hammy on the way down. And then when you feel like you can get that well, you progress into straight leg bounds with a cycle. And then you have things like alternate leg bounds that are going to be excellent for this, speed bounds that are excellent for this, and single leg bounds that are excellent for this. Single leg bounds aren't only for jumpers, they are for sprinters as well. This is you start slow and then you build up. It's all about programming your mind for speed, as we discussed in some of our previous videos. You want to deliberately focus on this in the beginning, and then you want your programming to just take over, so all of your hamstring activation is passive after this. So once you can fix it, it really is easier to do rather than to conceptually think about, as with most things. So again, take it slow on your first time trying this, and then build up. Once you get the feeling down, it's fairly unmistakable. I have a theory as well that not training your hamstring activation will lead to a ton of hamstring problems, as I have experienced in my own personal track journey, and as I've experienced my athletes struggling with in some of their track journeys. And so I'm going to be much more intentional as a coach to teach these things in a way that doesn't take forever to learn, and yet is something that you can always focus on as an athlete as you work to get better, right? Because fixing this one mistake can transform how you move and how you conceptualize sprinting, as it did for me when I heard it through the video. So that was a little bit of today's discussion on form and improvements you can make in your form on how to get faster. And what we will end with is our subscriber video, which I am very excited to go over. Okay, so let me see here. Bring up the subscriber video. How do I do this? Oh, that's what I have to do. Sorry. Working on it. Working on it. There we go. I'm getting there, guys. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, so we have this subscriber video. So I got this email from a student named Jordan Jacobson who wanted me to help his son, Jace Jacobson. He's a 14-year-old 400-meter runner who watched my 400-meter strategy videos, was able to implement those to achieve a best time of 53.6, which qualified him for USATF Junior Olympics, which is a great achievement and super exciting for Jace here. His dad, Jordan, let me know, or excuse me, I think it's his dad, but Jordan let me know that Jace's 100-meter PR is 12.3. His 200-meter PR is 26.1. And his 400-meter PR is 56.3. Now, if you follow my theory on 100, 200, 400 times, those splits don't make sense, right? So 100 to 200 times should be about double. So we're at a 12.3 times 2 is 24.6. So his 200-meter PR is 26.1. So we're already a second and a half off where he should be for his 200. And then his 400-meter PR is 56.3. With a, let's see, 24, 26. Now, that 12.3 times 2 is 24.6. I then go on to add, so that would be 26.6 plus 28.6, 55.2, and he has since run a 56.3. So this lets me know that out of all of his times, his 100-meter is the best time because he's not able to maintain the loose double structure to the 200 meters, right? By loose double, I mean like 12.3 times 2 is 24.6. I give plus or minus 0.2. So he could be anywhere from 24.8 to 24.4. And instead, he's at 26.1. So that lets us know that his speed endurance is lacking. He has great speed, but speed endurance is lacking, right? And if we stick with this idealistic time of 24.4, then what we do for his 400 is the first 200 of the 400, we're going to add 2 seconds. So 24.6 plus 2 is 26.6. And then the second half of his 400 for the final 200 should be plus 2 from there. So that would be 28.6. And that gets us a time of 55.2. Now his 400-meter PR is 56.3. So we have another piece of evidence that his speed endurance is not quite lacking. Is not quite up to par, and it is lacking. But let's throw theories out of the window and let's take his actual open 200-meter PR of 26.1. So 26.1 plus 2 is 28.1. And then you add 30.1 gets us 58.2. So, his 400 meter PR is definitely quicker than that. So sorry for throwing all these numbers at you, but I would expect his 400 to be faster if he can work on speed endurance. At the moment, again, I believe speed endurance is his limiting factor because of the difference between his open 100 and open 200 PR. And then, oh no, my camera battery is almost out. So let's watch this really fast. I'll give some tips, hopefully before my camera dies. He's in lane 4. Great start. He really made up a lot of ground in his start. Look at how much he's broken the stagger on 1, 2, 3, everyone. He broke stagger on everyone before 100 meters. And this is a 400 meters, so these are 2-turn staggers. One note I gave Jordan is chin down. His chin looks a little bit up, but the stride length is beautiful. He did a great job covering the backstretch of that 4. A little bit too aggressive with the arms here. You want to save the arms until like right now, because as you'll see when he comes home, his arms are not the greatest. So head wobbling a little bit, arms a little small, not so great. But maintaining, interestingly enough, maintaining his turnover fairly well. And there's his 56.2. So that is my subscriber video. Man, super unfortunate that my battery is dying here. I need to get one of those things. But so again, I think he hit it a little early, especially with his arms. I think the backstretch was beautifully run. And we just need to work on a little bit of speed endurance. Really covered a lot of ground there. That's excellent. Look at that stride. The stride is excellent as well. Head's moving a little bit. Arms are not so nice, as I said before. Dips at the line. Nice job. So I wanted to avoid giving Jordan too much coaching feedback as Jace heads into the Junior Olympics this coming week, just because I don't want you thinking so much when you head into big meets. All of our thinking needs to happen in practice, and ideally not the week before a big meet. The week before a big meet is just dialing in on a few things and staying focused. So that was a great subscriber submission. I'm working on being able to have other people submit things, and in the effort of running out of battery in my camera, we're going to call it a quits here. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. I'm trying to come back on Thursday at the same time. Do my best to stay consistent as I would have asked you to do in our training. So just a little bit more about Jace before I log off here. So it looks like he trains about 4 times per week. Gets to the track 2 to 3 times. 2 to 3 times. And they followed my kind of pyramid method of 1,000 total meters of about, running intervals of 150s and 350s. So I will have to think about how to increase his speed endurance. He also plays baseball, which is excellent. Again, I think for his age, doing multiple sports is great. It may become an issue in high school because baseball and track are the same season. But I don't know what it's like where he lives, and it may be doable for him. Baseball kind of, if he's gifted in baseball as gifted as he is in track, that's going to be a tough decision because baseball pays the bills significantly better than track does. Although, gotta love track as well, right? Um. So Jordan, I hope you watch this. I will look at what I think about his speed endurance training and give you some feedback, possibly for next season or for any other coming meets. Although I think the JOs is kind of the last stop there. So thank you so much. I'm super appreciative that you felt comfortable sending me this video and trusting my input for Jace. Um, I'll be here to answer any questions that you have, and same for anyone else. If you're interested in getting your own videos reviewed, just drop a comment and I will work on what that system looks like, as far as if it's Discord or a Google Sheet or using some other platform to get video submissions sent to me that is safe for myself and safe for you all, the viewers. And I'm looking forward to continuing and finding more subscriber submissions. So that's it. I'll see you next time. Wheels up. You know what I mean? What's my slogan? I had a slogan that I wrote. I don't know. Oh, only the fast survive. See you next time.